This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. Does this describe you or maybe your situation? You're kind of stressed out. Maybe you're stuck or you feel stuck, like you're not moving forward. Maybe you're at a crossroad and trying to make a decision. Or maybe you're using meds prescribed by a practitioner and not really working for you. And you're not really sure where to turn. Got somebody, and she can work with anybody, anywhere. She is the woman behind Elite Mindcare and Wellness. And so great to have Melanie Norris joining us on the program today. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, lots to talk about. And many of us, I believe, since COVID came and went, feeling elevated levels of stress, anxiety. It just seems that was kind of left in the aftermath. Are you hearing more and more people dealing with stress, anxiety, maybe depression?
So, yeah, definitely COVID was a lifetime event, a once in a lifetime event that really tested our mental strength. Being isolated, as humans, we're meant for connection. So being isolated for that period of time and then in fear of our life, of course, that exacerbated or brought to the forefront people who were already having some challenges with anxiety or depression or dealing with stress, but they had coping skills in place, maybe, family, friends, outings that were helping them. And then when that was all shut down, it really made people confront a lot of challenges that they were kind of making it through. But now we're bringing to light a lot of education and acceptance in the mental health world. So people are seeking help a little more freely and more comfortably right now.
How do you know when it's time for meds? Where I need to start taking something now.
Yeah. So I kind of tell people medication is just a tool in our toolbox. Okay. So therapy, honestly, talking and working through emotions and challenges, that's really where we get our biggest bang for our future, for everlasting health. In the meantime, though, sometimes we're in the thick of it. We are overwhelmed. And when you have a lot of anxiety or depression or that stressful event, you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, it's really hard to process some emotions and to think with clarity. So when those times come, then we can get our toolbox out and we can use some medication that helps to tone down those racing thoughts, those really overwhelming emotions. We don't turn you into a zombie. You still feel and go through all of the emotions. We just give you a little tool that makes it where you can have a plan of attack and you can start working towards health and getting you back to a mentally healthy state. So when you're feeling a little overwhelmed and you really have tried and you're working on it and it's so hard and you don't seem like you're making any progress, that's a good time to reach out. And of course, most psychiatric practitioners and physicians will kind of talk to you for a few minutes before you ever make an appointment, just so we can make sure that this is the right place for you, honestly. So if you're ever worried or questioned, just give somebody a call. We're all here to help,
For sure. And you said something I think is very impactful. I want to just put a little microscope on it. Taking care or better care of ourselves. Do you feel that there's a fair number of people, we're going through challenges, but we don't realize that we're not hydrating properly. We're not getting enough sleep. Maybe we're not eating properly. Maybe we're not getting enough exercise. And that's weighing us down. So you're already starting with a challenge. Now you've got that. You can't even cope, get clarity. Now it's almost, now you're going down that rabbit hole of challenge because of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually part of our initial assessment. The first meeting or appointment we have, it's pretty lengthy. It's about an hour to an hour and a half long meeting. and we kind of talk about everything. And in our plan, or at least my plan, all of those things are addressed because that's our foundation. If we're not eating well, if we're not sleeping well, if we're not exercising, getting outside in the fresh air and getting some sunshine, all of these things build a solid foundation, and then we can work from there. So some people, it just really is a diet and exercise change that's helped them to make the biggest progress before they even were ready to take a medication.
So you essentially offer emotional support, and this is not counseling or traditional therapy, correct?
No, correct. So we have what's called motivational interviewing. We use some cognitive behavioral therapy skills, but this is all very shallow, so to speak. I am kind of addressing the big elephant in the room, because when you're in the middle of a severe depression or you're overwhelmed with anxiety, I like to tell people it's kind of like, the old adage that you can't see the forest for the trees. You're stuck in it. So when I say, well, when's the last time you had a good meal? When's the last time you've been outside to walk? They're like, I do feel better if I go and walk. I haven't done that in a week. Let me go outside and do that. So it's just because we get our mind in this overwhelming state that we don't think clearly. And even when we say that, you and I sitting here talking, it's like, oh, well, of course, I need to go outside. I need to do some things. But when you're in that state, it's very, very difficult to even pick out those small little changes that are occurring that you really can make a big difference.
It's almost as if you're flying over the stadium and we're on the field or in the trenches. We're not seeing what's going on there. I didn't realize I wasn't drinking enough. I wasn't hydrating.
Right.
Because you're in the throw of it.
Yeah.
Medication management. You offer GeneSight testing.
Yes.
And I'm aware of it. I've used it for those close with me. Gotta tell you, pretty damn good, pretty accurate. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, huh? So this is like a one-time DNA test that we do. We have them in the office, but honestly, I see most of my patients virtually. So I just send this little test kit to your house. It arrives, has a little Q-tip swab in it. You swab the inside of your cheek, put it back in the little pamphlet or little package and mail it back. The company GeneSight kind of takes care of all of your insurance concerns, pricing. They call before any test is run to make sure that you know what to expect up front as far as insurance coverage or costs, so that, we don't want to put any additional strain on anyone. But when we do that test, it kind of, it does. It actually looks at your DNA and compares it to all of our medications are processed through different cytochromes, like SIPs, or what we call them, our liver process, and it's different pathways. So this test will tell us if I am a person who processes this medication really fast or really slow, because that'll make a difference on if I need a higher dose or a lower dose. And my body is going to process things different than yours. Even, in our DNA, we have a few changes in our family, but historically, we've always said, well, what is, if you have anxiety or depression, we always say, well, what about your mom, your dad? Are they on anxiety medicine, depression medicine? And they're like, yeah. Well, which one worked for them? Because likely if it worked for mom or dad, it's going to work for you. So now this is the science backing that up. And it tells us, it gives us these little color-coded graphs, or it'll tell us a green, a yellow, and a red. So not that the red medications listed in the red box won't work for you, but the green box is going to be our go-to, because it shows this is going to be our best option. And you're probably going to tolerate these better. They're going to be more effective. And it'll actually tell us, hey, you might not need a higher dose, or you may need more, because the way their body processes it. So it's pretty exciting. It's new in our world, essentially over the time. There's not a lot of new advances in psychiatry. So that's been pretty awesome.
It was a few years ago, and a family member did the test. And here's how I can say that it was accurate, because the medications that really didn't agree with them, as determined by their practitioner and them, some side effects and just not feeling right. And they were in the red column.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spot on. Spot
Right.
on. The only,
It's
the rub here, and is what it is, not usually covered by insurance, but if I remember correctly, they cut you a break on it, give you a rebate, discount, whatever. I think it was like maybe $300 out of
um,
pocket.
so they actually have improved that. A lot
Okay.
of commercial insurances are covering
Wonderful.
most of the costs, if not all, and Medicare, I'm pretty sure covers all of the costs now.
Terrific.
So, but like I said, the Gen Site themselves reach out to the patient and tell them like if it's going to be $300, and they actually do a payment plan. Anything that would be over a total of $100, they'll do a payment plan for them over a course of a year. So if it's $100, you can pay, your little money every month to get it done instead of having to come out of pocket right away. So they really have done and grown, advanced there a lot with the coverage.
When it comes to meds and somebody taking medication for anxiety or depression,
Mm-hmm.
how much time should they give? And everybody's different. Every med is different. But as a baseline, how much time should they give it before they decide whether it's working or not?
So, this is one of the biggest challenges for psychiatry. Most of our medication, it's going to take about anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before we get to a good efficacy level that we know, okay, this is working. We may not be at the optimal dose. We may have to take more time to go, but we really shouldn't make any adjustments before the 4 week mark. So in most clinics, between 4 and 8 weeks, 4 weeks, you're gonna begin to see some improvement if it's gonna start. It might be very small at that point, but it's a good time to reassess and say, okay, are you tolerating it? Are you still eating? Are you still sleeping? Because some of our medications can interfere with sleep. Some of them can make us eat too much. So it's a good time to reassess kind of how we're tolerating it and if we're going at least in the right direction. We can continue and progress. We just need to find the optimal dose. If we're not tolerating or, it's making you, sometimes we have lots of headaches, lots of GI upset with our medicines. So if we're not tolerating it, 4 weeks is a long time to not feel well. Or to feel worse because of a medication. So typically people can reach out before that and we can address some minor issues because they do have the first few days headaches and some GI upset is very common. And we can address that usually with Tylenol or a little medication, a little antiemetic. But if it's worse than that, we can make those changes.
Tell me about your background. Melanie, how did you get here? There's many different ways you could have pivoted, and you have the specialty of meds and more. Tell us about that.
So my background, I have been nursing for many, many years. I originally was, however, planning to be an accountant. Numbers has always been my love. It's been very easy. Science was very
good for
challenging
you.
for me.
Good for you. I envy you. It is the complete opposite of who I am. I run from them. It just doesn't interest me. So it takes a special person to have that affinity.
Science was always my most challenging subject, but in my young life as a teenager, I lost my mom to cancer, and when I was 16, and in the stages 17, I'm sorry, in the stages of losing her, we came across so many nurses that made such a difference in caring for her. Of course, they did an amazing job, but in caring for our family, my entire family, that I was, like I said, I was 17. I was in night classes for accounting. I was going to be an accountant, and that event changed my whole direction. And I went to nursing school.
Wow.
Became a nurse in 1997, and then just have kept going since then. I've worked in acute care, however, most of my life in the intensive care. So psychiatry is kind of new for me as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was your mom that set you on this path.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was okay with me in the accounting field. Like I said, I was still in high school and I had started classes at night for accounting because I had a plan. And so she didn't really direct me there. It's just the love and attention and care that the nurses that we came in contact with during that time that was so hard, that made the difference. I wanted to be to someone else what they were to me. So in their time of, in their worst time of their life, I wanted to make that difference. So that's
Wow.
what changed it, to be honest.
Wow. Who is the perfect person to call upon you for help and support?
So it's kind of a big, big field. We have, if you're having trouble with attention and focus, concentration, you're in college, and usually in high school to college is a big difference in, knowing what you had to do to being a self-regulated study person and doing tasks. So a lot of times those kind of problems happen there. We can help with that. Changing jobs as we get older, if we're taking on more tasks, and we've always been able to cope and have skills to do that, but it's more overwhelming now, we can help you in the attention and focus there. Lots of people with death and dying of loved ones, they kind of get into, it's, of course, we all go through the grieving process, but they kind of get stuck sometimes, some people, and a little medication will just for that season help them to get out of that hole and still go through the grieving process, but get to the other side. And then, we can take the medicine away. None of this means forever. This is just us helping with our tools to get through a hard season. So anxiety, depression, ADHD, I have some mood disorders like bipolar and schizophrenia. We do that. And then insomnia as well.
Ooh, there's a big one. Oh, I don't
Yes.
think I'm going to scan my mind now, but I believe almost everybody in my world, everybody I know, occasionally myself, challenges with sleep. So can we talk about that? Where do you start with that, and what can be done?
Sure. Of course, it's a lot of assessment, like what's your lifestyle? A lot of people here where I'm at is kind of ruled. So they have a lot of shift work. Shift work is hard
Yes.
on the body. So we start with trying, of course, you can't quit your job. We have to still provide, we have to do the things, but we have to try to figure out what can make it better. And we'll start with caffeine. How much caffeine are you taking? When do you stop drinking caffeine before you have to go to bed? Are you exercising? Because we have to make our body physically tired in order to rest well. Are you eating well? Are you eating a lot of processed foods? That's going to interfere with how our body processes and eliminates. So it's all of those things are first, we interrogate and we investigate and figure out if there's any of those things we can modify. And then I tell people about good sleep hygiene, which is recommended from sleep.org. And it's what we're taught, but we go through, make sure your room is dark, make sure that it's cool, make sure that it's quiet. We're going to eliminate screen time when it gets closer to bedtime. Our phones are, our best worst enemy sometimes. That blue light that it emits is designed to stimulate our brain and to make us want to keep scrolling. So trying to put that down, definitely turning it on the night mode, but trying to put that down at least an hour to 2 hours before it's time to go to
Wow.
bed, so that your body can and your brain can relax and wind down, and we can start producing melatonin. And then, another thing that I like to use, and I use for almost every single patient if we're having trouble, is we start with magnesium. Magnesium is amazing element that we can use over the counter. Magnesium, there's many formulations, but magnesium glycinate and magnesium threonate for psychiatry. Threonate helps with anxiety and mental clarity, but glycinate helps with sleep. Magnesium kind of relaxes our muscles. It doesn't put us to sleep. Like if I prescribe a medication that's pretty strong, you're going to feel it making you go to sleep. You're going to know you're drowsy, you're going to sleep. And some people don't like that feeling, but magnesium, natural, and it's very gentle on our body. Everyone tolerates it pretty darn well. And it just gets us ready. We take it an hour or so before bed, and it gets us ready it relaxes us and prepares us for bedtime. So that's another really effective tool that we've had.
And I've heard that, and I bought it, And I'm going to be honest with you, Melanie. I was afraid to take it. I have so many things in my medicine cabinet that I buy,
Yeah.
and minerals, not over the counter stuff,
Yeah.
supplements
Right.
and
Right.
things like that. I'm like, yeah, this would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I should do that. So the magnesium you mentioned
Hmm.
for sleep. What's
Hmm.
that called again?
It's magnesium glycinate, glycinate. And with magnesium glycinate, it's very difficult to hurt yourself. You can't really take a whole, I mean, I guess you could, but it would be bottles upon bottles that you would take
Okay.
that is really going to hurt you. The normal dose range, I tell people we can normal dose range. This you can go way higher, but I tell people 3 to 900 milligrams. I personally take it. I started at 600 milligrams several years ago, and now I only take 300 milligrams. But again, that process of training our body to get ready for bed and doing the
Mm.
same thing every night consistently helps me to decrease that total medication amount. Sorry.
Mm.
Um,
And
and so
I
now I only
heard,
need 300.
is this true? I heard that you can have some gastro issues with magnesium, or is that no?
You can. Magnesium glycinate is not really known for that. Usually magnesium citrate. So you have to be careful what you're buying, because citrate it's used as a laxative. It's gonna make you go to the bathroom. And then
Uh,
we have there's a couple of other formations that actually may slow down your gut. So you do have to pay attention to what you're buying. But the glycinate, most people, they don't have any nausea, any upset stomach, nothing. No one's ever reported anything adverse to me. Besides, some people said it didn't work for them, but it's probably they just didn't take enough.
how
And
much time on that one should you give for it to work? Once you start taking that uh, magnesium glycinate, I think it is.
yes. So, like I said, you're not going to feel it making you go to sleep. You're going to notice over 2 to 4 weeks that it's becoming easier to go to sleep. And then
Okay.
once you are asleep, you're going to have less awakening during the night. You're going to awaken less, because that was a lot of my problem. I would lay in the bed for an hour or at least looking at the clock trying to go to bed. And then every time I turned over, I would open my eyes and then it'd be start over again. I'd still
Yeah.
lay there forever. So now I go to bed and I go to sleep pretty quickly. I don't know how fast, because I don't time it anymore. But when I wake up in the middle of the night, I may remember waking up, but I'm right back to sleep. I don't have to that challenge of forcing myself back to sleep.
Wow. Learning so much here. Another one bought. The last thing I bought was for sleep. This is like a month ago. Somebody
Mhm.
told me about lemon balm, BALM. It's more holistic type thing. And it's supposed to
Mhm.
do kind of the same thing you described, just relax you, chill you out. Haven't tried
Yeah,
it yet.
I'm gonna have to look. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that one up. I don't know about
Lemon
that one.
lemon balm, BALM. I give you a
Lemon
lot of
balm.
credit when it comes to medications. They have so many different names. The technical names, I don't even know how you remember all of that. But that, I guess you're wired that way. Pretty amazing.
I wasn't wired that way. It's taken lots of practice and
Wow.
studying. I'm not gonna lie.
But you have the answers. As we're talking here today, this is what you do. How do we connect with you? And can you work with anybody anywhere, or is it just you're in Louisiana, correct?
So correct. So I'm only licensed for the state of Louisiana. Currently, the regulations allow mental health care to continue virtual visits for the foreseeable future. COVID changed that for all of us and made this possible, which is amazing. But in primary care, they've kind of down regulated that, and they're talking about it in mental health. But as of now, we can do fully virtual treatment anywhere in the state of Louisiana. And our office, if you want to come in, we do have office hours. Our office is actually located in Franklinton, Louisiana, which is about an hour and a half or so north of New Orleans. You can contact us by phone at 985-298-8657. And then on our website at www.eliteMindCareWellness.com. In there's a self-scheduling tool. You can schedule a 15-minute consultation so we can kind of, touch base and see if we can work together and if we can make a difference.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melanie, for all the insight today. I'm going to take my magnesium. I'm going to put the big boy pants on and and do it.
Try it.
But that's just the tip of the iceberg to what's available out there to help us.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You get the story.
My point was I'm very conservative. I do like to try to start with as minimal at the minimum, and then we all of course can go up as needed. Every situation is different, and it's truly patient by patient and how their symptoms are affecting their life. If it's causing severe dysfunction, then we go a little bit faster. But if we're functioning and we're making through, then we start tweaking things on a conservative level. But it really is about function.
And about taking the time to hear what somebody's going through, where you might not get that elsewhere. This is what you focus on. Thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys have a great day. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.